Welcome to Chicago Bulls Chat with C-Red UK. This podcast is part of the Fans First Sports Network. Wherever or however you're listening, make sure to rate, review and subscribe. It helps us out and means you never miss another episode. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave some comments for us to get back to. And for all the C-Red UK action, check out the Discord channel and across the socials. Now, over to your hosts, Matt Hearn and Neil Dunn.
Welcome back. I'm Matt, and as usual, joined by Neil. How are we doing, Neil?
I'm okay. Looking forward to having a quick chat about how the Summer League went and how we expect it to go moving forward.
Yeah, obviously, title of the episode is It Was Only Summer League. So, Everything we say, there's your thing
Caveat.
for it. That's the word. I'm not that posh. So obviously, Summer League, all done and dusted. For Bulls, it was done and dusted on Saturday/Sunday morning. Quite disappointingly, to be honest. Obviously, Miami Heat did come out winners. They've announced the individual winners, the MVP, the finals MVP, all that crap. I don't know if you noticed, but the MVP, I think it was Jarris Wilson or someone from Nets, only made second team, all second team, whatever it is, which makes no sense to me.
No, that makes no sense at all.
You know, they give him the MVP and then shove him on the second team. So, yeah. But
and your consolation prize is
it was only Summer League. So, but obviously, on to Bulls. Obviously, we spoke last week just before we were getting ready. Well, not just before, but before we played Hawks, which was probably the most exciting game of Summer League.
Mm-hmm.
Went to overtime and Bulls ran out 103-99 winners after overtime. Obviously, DJ Stewart had probably the game of Summer League for him and for Bulls, and probably most of Summer League, to be fair. Was it 37 points and 7 assists and
the game winner?
Yeah, and then obviously backed that up by facing Lakers, which they lost 107-81, and that was a hard watch.
Yeah, it really was.
Obviously, it was a midnight tip here on the back of that overtime win as well, and obviously Buzelis did start against Lakers after being on the bench against Hawks, even though he got third most minutes on the team in that Hawks game. No Phillips, no Sonogo, no Bronny, no Dalton Connect, and the other guy that they didn't play, I don't know his name, Maxwell Lewis or something like that. And yeah, Bulls just weren't in it, were they?
Not at all.
After the way they played against Hawks, the two-man game between Stewart and Sonogo, that was definitely missing. Yeah, but it was only Summer League. So, obviously, the main talking point of Summer League was Matas Buzelis.
Yes.
And he's going to be the main talking point moving forward, I think, for a lot of Bulls fans. In my sort of honest opinion, I think some are riding the hype train a little bit too fast. And they just need to rein it back in a little bit. You know, people have got him down to be like Rookie of the Year, all that. And I'm not saying he hasn't got that sort of potential, but is he going to get enough minutes to be in consideration for it? Does he deserve enough minutes to be in consideration for it? Because them last two games in particular in Summer League, he was not disappointing, but we didn't see anything out of him that we didn't already know was there. There was the odd explosive dunk. You know, I think he got 5 steals in the Hawks game, I think it was. Averaged 2 blocks throughout Summer League. You know, so there is some good there, but there's also a lot of work needed. And for people that think that he's going to be the starting 3, I mean, I know people are wanting Bulls to tank, but he's not, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's not ready.
No.
I'm not saying
No.
he can't be ready at some point through the season after a bit of work with the Bulls coaching team and playing alongside proper NBA players and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that he isn't going to get minutes, because he deserves them, and I don't want to see him go down to Windy City, because the only way he's going to develop is by staying.
Yeah, for sure.
But obviously what I'm trying to say is just rein it back. I think Bulls fans are setting him up to be a bust, the way they're acting with
possibly
him.
Yeah,
because they're coming in they're thinking that he's coming in and he's going to be this superstar and going to be an all-star, he's going to be rookie of the year, he's going to be this, he's going to be that. But when you look at it, he's not. And then when he's not them things, they're going to be like, oh, well, that's why he fell to 11. That's why he's not starting. That's what, But he's only 19 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's obviously had his year in the G League, which is going to prepare him better for the NBA as well. So, and the one thing that you can't take away from him is his attitude and his mentality. And that, to me, is what is going to get him the minutes and the sort of possible starting role towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what was your sort of take on him? Because I know you were maybe a little bit more hyped about him than I am, but
yeah, no, I like I said in the last pod, I love everything about this kid, and I said it then as well. He's very much an unfinished product, so it's not like I'm sitting here saying he's the next big thing and he's going to come in, he's going to impact winning straight away or anything. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's all based on potential and the ceiling that is possibly there with this kid. He's going to be something special.
Yeah,
but he's not going to walk in on day one, game one, and come straight out of the bat or out the trap as a superstar player, as a finished product. I mean, he's far from that. But from what we've managed to gather is he works hard and he has this incredible attitude and winning mentality. I just hope that a losing season or two doesn't knock that out of him a little bit.
Yeah,
because I think that's what he's facing into is potentially, at least 2, maybe more losing seasons. And I just hope that kind of thing doesn't get in to the psyche and start to damage that way that he thinks, because I like the way that he thinks and I like the way he approaches the game. Like that, I wouldn't say it was disappointing. I think expectations need to be perhaps tempered, like you say, pump the brakes a little bit. But we saw flashes of what he can do, and not just 1 or 2 flashes. Like we saw quite a number of flashes across every game he was in. He may not have had as good a game in game 4 and 5 as he did in game 3 or 2, but what you did see was something that stood out in every single game he played in.
Yeah,
there was always 1, 2, 3 moments that you could go, wow, did you see that? Wow, did you see that? And that's what's exciting people. But all I say is don't expect this polished product straight away. Give him time.
Yeah, like I say, it is just a case of, like you said, calm your expectations. I get the hype, I really do, because I am hyped about him. It is something that we have been wanting. Is a draft pick that we can feel like this about, and
yeah,
I think what he will do is make certain players on the team better as well. Hopefully, someone like P. Will, because I think he is going to push P. Will in training camp and in practice. And we've been saying for a long time, somebody needs to light a fire under P. Will.
Right.
We thought Dalen Terry was going to do it, but I think Buzelis, because of his competitiveness, he will go balls out whenever he's on that court. and
See-
he's going to push P-Will.
Yeah, and the flip, well, not the flip side, but the kind of running parallel to what you're saying there is, not only will he push him in training and pre-season running up to it, but it's also going to be in the back of P-Will's head. This guy's after my job, right? Yeah. This guy's looking to take my starting position away from me, and hopefully that's enough as well, because he never really kind of had that too much, even though he did have a bit of a spell off the bench. P-Will never really had anyone threatening to take his job away, really.
Yeah.
And now he does. It could maybe ignite something inside him, or maybe not, but hopefully it will.
I mean, I'd say that Buzelis is backup 3.
Right now.
I don't think we have a starting 3 at the minute. I think we've got somebody who will start at the 3, but they're not a starting 3, if that makes sense. And I think the backcourt is going to be Giddey, Kobe, and Zach. And I think it's going to be switched between Giddey and Levine that'll start there. I think Giddey possibly, people say he's a point guard, but I think he'll play the point forward sort of position, allowing Kobe and Zach to essentially be the backcourt. But Zach could move into that 3 position quite easily and just stand and shoot and that sort of thing. So then when Buzelis does check in, I think he ups the tempo because he's going to play hard, he's going to play fast, and that's where he's going to get his minutes. And I think in Summer League, he was possibly trying a bit too much at times. And there was a lot of times where there was somebody wide open and it was like, no, this is me. I'm taking it to the rim. And he maybe over-dribble it slightly, or he didn't seem to have a plan B. When plan A went wrong, he didn't seem to have a plan B. But that's all things that he's going to develop naturally. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, I'm not by any means saying he's a bust, but I'm also not saying he's going to be a superstar. And I'm not saying he won't be in maybe 3, 4, 5 years, because he has got that potential. But next season, he's no. It's all about, I think, introducing him to the NBA. And one thing he definitely needs to do is put some muscle on, because when he goes up against legit NBA players, he's going to get out muscled. But yeah. So obviously, Buzelis was the main whatever. There was obviously other players, Julian Phillips, Adama Sanogo, that people were looking at quite closely, and particularly excelled either. I just think they did what was expected. I think Phillips had a couple of games where you just thought, well, where's he gone?
Yeah.
But obviously Phillips is the one that you're looking at for the main rotations, aren't you? Out of the 2. Probably out of everyone that was in Summer League, to be fair, because he's got that year behind him already.
Yeah.
But it just kind of feels like, where's he going to get his minutes now? When you've got P-Will set to be the 4, Buzelis set to be backup 3, Torrey Craig's in there as well. It's going to be hard, and I don't think he did enough in Summer League that where you kind of go, yeah, he deserves them minutes.
Yeah.
I think, you're not going to prioritise Julian Phillips over Buzelis for a start, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, he's a rotational piece. He was a rotational piece last year, and he'll continue to be a rotational piece unless he starts to excel and develop a little bit more than he has, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if Billy sort of extends his rotations past 9 men, then, we've got a chance of seeing somebody like Phillips, I reckon. But I think there's going to be a lot of players that see a lot of bench, basically. And I think Phillips is possibly one of them. Obviously, all hinders on what happens with Zach.
Yeah, it really does. And this is the whole thing that we've been saying for the whole off season, that, you know, I think everybody expected Zach to be the first domino to fall, or at least if not the first, he would be closely followed as the second. And here he still is talking about togging out for the Bulls in the next season. So I don't know really what happens with that. You know, I spoke briefly about it there recently and said that I don't expect him to remain with the Bulls. I think everybody's kind of put the trade deadline as the feature point for that. I think it could very well happen a lot sooner than that if the position arises somewhere else due to an injured player and they need to get a replacement or something like that, which tends to happen in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, in a few weeks, we'll start looking towards the current roster and expectations and stuff like that. So, I mean, what was your take on Phillips and Sanogo in Summer League?
Yeah, I like that. I think they pretty much did what we expected and what we thought they would do. Sanogo proved once again that he's better than this level of basketball. He's certainly a solid G Leaguer. And I think potentially, you know, with a little bit more court time in the NBA, he'll become more and more of an NBA level player as well. I enjoy Sanogo when he is working under the rim and playing old school center basketball, which he excels at. What's that?
The fridge.
The fridge, exactly. He's a solid unit. You can't move him. And like we spoke about in the last pod, with those long arms of his, he reaches between players and kind of steals away the ball in a situation where he's no real right to. And I like that about him. What I didn't like about him, and this is, I suppose, the old school in me, perhaps, but I didn't like it when he was standing shooting threes, which thankfully he only did a small bit. But that's not his game, I don't think. Now, whether it develops into that is a different story, but it certainly is not his game at the moment. But yeah, no, I like Sanogo. I think he did exactly what I expected him to do. As for Phillips, yeah, I was a little bit more kind of up and down on him, a little bit more wishy-washy, really. He had a couple of games where he did exactly what you'd expect him to do, and he had a couple of games where he did very little. And then, of course, he didn't play in the last game. But I think he probably did enough to remain in favour, but he certainly didn't propel himself any further.
Yeah. And obviously the last player that we'll give any time to, and one that Bulls have given some time to by awarding him the 2-way contract, is DJ Stewart.
Yes.
My guy. Now, you know, I will forever say that I picked him out as my one to watch before Summer League. So I love the fact that he's got this 2-way. I think the first game, he kind of showed a little bit of what he can. I think he was more influential on the defensive end in the first game, from what I remember, against Bucks. And then you kind of started to see the 3-point shot come. Obviously the assists, even though you go on Twitter and everyone's like, oh, tell DJ Stewart to pass it. You know, side note, he is Bulls all-time Summer League in assists per game.
Yep.
So if he's hogging that ball and still getting assists, you know, work that one out. Obviously, he was team high in assists as well in this Summer League. So, yeah, he was really hogging that ball. Obviously, against Lakers, I think not having Sanogo there kind of affected his game a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he went off with looked like an ankle injury, didn't it? Where somebody fell on him, didn't they? I think as they would.
Yeah, he was kind of holding the leg above the ankle, between the calf and the ankle. So I'd say he probably just strained it or something, but obviously wasn't comfortable to play on.
And I mean, obviously, a lot of fans are happy that Stewart's got this two-way,
Mhm.
and a lot of fans are saying we've got enough guards. It's like it's a two-way.
Yeah.
Chances
I
are
don't think he's going to see much
No.
time in the main team. He'll be
He'll-
mainly down in Windy City.
Yeah, which I'm happy about because especially if Sonogo's down there, their two-man game against Hawks was just something else on it. And
Yeah, it really
if they can do that, and I think DJ Stewart's a sort of player that is going to help Sonogo in becoming a better player and
Mhm.
possible NBA player because he's
Yeah.
going to help him work on the strengths of his game, which that sort of pick and roll and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you imagine he's going to be in training camp. May see him for a little bit in pre-season, and then maybe see him sat on the bench. But I think if he does get some minutes, I think he'll surprise a few people at the NBA level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
I'm not saying he's going to go out there and demand the starting point guard role because obviously he's not. But I think in a little bit in the way Javon Freeman Liberty, where he got some minutes for Raptors and didn't disappoint, but obviously did because they've just waived him. But just on that, maybe Bulls should look at waiving Andrew Funk and bringing Javon home. Backcourt of DJ Stewart and Javon Freeman Liberty. I'd take that for Windy City.
Yeah. Yeah, so would I.
Two hometown kids as well, isn't it? So
absolutely, yeah.
Obviously, on that, Stewart does complete the two ways with Funk and Sonogo. How the Andrew Funk is still there, I really don't know.
It makes no funkin' sense.
No. So yeah, I mean, what was your sort of take on DJ Stewart before we get into our winners and losers?
Yeah, well, unlike yourself, he wasn't on my radar, only for the fact that you'd said it. See, I'm not going to try and claim him to be my guy or anything like that. But I thoroughly enjoyed his ascension throughout Summer League. Really, is because that's what it was. I mean, game 5 wasn't quite as impressive, but like you say, he'd been running that pick and roll with Sonogo almost to perfection. And when Sonogo wasn't there was nobody else rolling the same way. And that's kind of, I think, what led to a slightly less impressive game 5 for him. But yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed his game, particularly against the Hawks. You could just see the confidence growing in him more and more every time he stepped on the floor. And I like that. I like, as we know from talking over the last number of years about this, I like players that take their opportunities, that they don't need to get some big, hurrah or heralded start. They just come out of nowhere and they prove, hey, look at me, I can do this. And I think he very much did that. Like,
they don't need a daddy in the NBA that gets them drafted on the name.
Yeah. Do you know what? Right. I don't know if I'm happier or not. Yeah, I know, that's it. Reel me in. I don't know if I'm happier or not that we didn't have to put up with Bronny playing, because to be honest with you, I think from the commentary side of it alone, I was glad he wasn't on the floor in the Lakers game, because we didn't have to listen to the nonsense and the noise that comes with him. So for that, I suppose, small mercies. But at the same time, I would have liked to have just seen how bad he was. But
you just know that he'd have gone the opposite way and we wouldn't have heard the end of it.
That's true as well, yeah. So at least that wasn't even in the realm of possibility. But actually, on Bronny, again, I don't want to be talking about this family. But on Bronny as well, I heard the other day, I can't remember which podcast I heard it on, but apparently he is the number 2 highest number of bets to be Rookie of the Year in the NBA.
Yeah, I heard that.
That is nonsense. That's just insane. Like, let's just throw our money away. Come
Where's
on.
Where's he getting the minutes?
Well, for one, I don't think he's going to see much time in the NBA anyway. The only way it'll be garbage time minutes purely just to appease his daddy. But I mean, apart from anyway, look, I'm going to move. I don't want to get drawn into this any further. Right, I'm going to move on. DJ Stewart, right? DJ Stewart was impressive. Really enjoyed it. Loved seeing his confidence and his ascension. There we go.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he is G League sort of ready as well.
Absolutely.
Main Celtics last season, and I can't remember his stats, but I think he was quite high in pretty much everything he was doing. So, I think for Windy City, obviously, we try to watch Windy City when we can. If it's been broadcast for a start, it's quite handy.
Does help.
And obviously, we will keep an eye on Windy City through the season. So, yeah. Now, obviously, with Summer League, there are winners and losers in terms of individuals. And I just wanted to get your winners and losers from the Bulls roster. And do we start with the negative or the positive?
Oh, well, hey, listen, you're the big boss, man. You choose. Are we going to do the top or the bottom?
I think we'll start with the losers.
Okay. That's a longer list.
Yeah, you could pretty much name everybody outside that top four.
Yeah, pretty much. I've got the list of. Yeah, I mean, there was a good outing from one player, and that hadn't really been in it in Game 5.
Sebron.
Sebron. But I didn't really want to see Bron in a Bulls jersey. See what I did there?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think he was fully fit because he went off in Game 5.
Back problem or something, didn't he? Yeah.
Because he was somebody alongside Stewart that I was looking forward to watching because I'd seen a lot of tape on him, and I think we saw it in Game 5 what I wanted to see, but obviously that was all we did see. So yeah.
But I mean, apart from that, you could pretty much go through the list and just say, weren't good. But I know we're going to go on to actually naming our personal most valuable player and most disappointing player of the Summer League. So I won't start pulling out names. But like you say, outside of that top 4 players, everybody else was kind of below par, subpar, really.
Yeah. So obviously winners then basically the top 4.
Yeah.
So in terms of most valuable and most disappointing, now obviously in the Discord, I said that a bit weird. In the Discord.
Discord. You went right northern there, didn't you?
I am parked in Yorkshire, so I'm home. Yeah, we were running the top 3, which obviously resulted in the MVP ladder. And as I put out on Twitter the other day, Uzelis did top it from DJ Stewart. I think Phillips was 3rd and Sonogo was 4th. So there you go. Sebron, after Game 5, kind of jumped up to 5th after one game. And then the rest, there was, I think Javonte Smart stood out for little things in games. Again, he's G League player, isn't he? He's,
yeah. But
I would like to see him on Windy City, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think he's been playing in Lithuania or somewhere random like that.
Was he? Oh, no, he needs to be, get him in the G League somewhere anyway,
Yeah.
But like you say, there was little spells of him, but I kind of found he played better in the earlier games and dropped off a little bit more so than the other way around.
Yeah. So we'll start with the most disappointing because then we'll finish on a bit of a high for Summer League. So
okay.
who was your most disappointing player? Or who do you think is the biggest loser, should we say?
I think the most obvious name to throw out there would probably be Andrew Funk, right? But I'm not going to. For me, purely because he's had some more game time and we've seen more of him. And I'm really sorry to our friend Gary, but I'm actually going to say Henry Drell. And the reason why I'm going to say Henry Drell over Funk is because of the opportunity he got and the amount of minutes he played.
Yeah.
Andrew Funk was averaging 13.9 minutes per game, and Henry Drell was averaging 23.6. And I just found that, you know, what you expect to get out of Drell just wasn't there. And at this stage, I would have expected to see more.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to go for Funk as well, but I actually think he is actually one of the winners in a weird kind of way. And what I mean by that is, and again, apologies to Gary, because my most disappointing player or my biggest loser is Henry Drell, because he finished last season on a two-way.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost that.
Yeah.
Andrew Funk's kept his somehow.
True.
So to me, that makes him a winner in that sense, that he's kept that contract. Now, obviously, it was put down as a multi-year two-way, wasn't it, when he did sign it? So, which they could still waive him.
Yeah, I think they will eventually. Yeah.
I mean, I think the disappointing thing for me with Drell is that he's been in and around the system. I think it's his third summer league with Bulls. Going into, if he comes back with Windy City, it's going to be his fourth year with Windy City. And I think he's just a G League player, basically.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he'll go, if he does come back to Windy City, he will not particularly shine for him, but he'll be that guy that is just Mr. Reliable for Windy City. Do you know what I mean? He'll put up his doubles and stuff like that when he does, and yeah.
He's going to be a more established player at this stage in the G League, you know.
Yeah. And onto your most valuable or your biggest winner. Who took the most out of Summer League for you?
Yeah, see, this one I kind of wrestle with more so between two players, really. And that's Mattas and DJ. Now,
yeah, so we haven't discussed any of this, have we?
No, we haven't talked about this at all. We said we'd just surprise each other with what our opinions were. But I'm kind of guessing by the way you're looking that, as usual, we're in each other's heads. But Mattas is the obvious choice because, you know, he had these explosive moments and everybody fell in love with him instantly. And, you know, we all got these high hopes and expectations for him. But for me, he kind of only proved what he said he was going to be, right? And that's not to be sniffed at, but for the reason that DJ Stewart is edging it for me as my MVP is because at the start of Summer League, nobody expected anything from him or very little from him. Certainly didn't expect him to end up getting, yeah, all right, your guy, whatever. Certainly didn't expect him to come away from Summer League with a two-way contract. And for that, and also top all the bills for the Bulls in Summer League as what is he top scorer and top assists, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Of Summer League all time. So that alone, I know a lot of that was kind of molded by that one game where he went off. But for me, that makes him the ultimate MVP candidate and winner, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I had two players in mind, and one was DJ Stewart, pretty much for the same reasons as you've said. But my choice and the other option was Adama Sanogo. And the reason being is, I think I mentioned it on the last pod, that a lot of other podcasters, so I'm not going to name names because, you know, it's all opinion and stuff, were saying, you know, double Dama, you know, you've got 2020, blah, 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 and kind of belittling other people's opinions that wanted to see him have that opportunity in the real NBA. And now when you listen to them, they've not completely flipped, but they're saying, give him his chance, give him a shot. And I think, you know, like I say, it is just people's opinion and they're entitled to it and all that. But I think a lot of people were basing their opinion on Sanogo off the limited minutes that they saw him in the NBA. They weren't actually watching him in the G League. They weren't watching him dominate in the G League. So they didn't know his game as such. Then because then when he got his garbage time, then when he went off against, was it Wizards, he got the 2020 game, it was against Wizards. It was against Wizards G League team. You know, the one game where, to me, that he did stand out was against, I think it was Sixers. But again, you know, that was the first time he got some real minutes. I think 8 minutes. And again, people said, oh, it was against Sixers, you know, role players and stuff like that. So it seemed like every time he did something in the NBA, people wanted to knock him back down.
Mhm.
Whereas now, because of his performances and because they've actually watched his game, again, yeah, it is only Summer League, but you can see the fundamentals of his game and you can see what he does actually bring. And he has got a
Mhm.
certain skill set that will work in the NBA, especially with Bulls when they brick the threes, because he's going to be there to grab the boards, you know. And he's based, to me, he reminds me of Drummond. And I think he was never going to get his opportunity while Drummond was there, because you got Vooch, you got Drummond. You're not putting him in over any of them two. And no disrespect to Jalen Smith, because I do like that pickup, but there's going to be games where he's just not got it going, you know.
Yeah.
And if Sonogo's, for whatever reason, sat on the bench, you know, when the schedules don't match and stuff like that, Billy can look at Sonogo and go, just, you know what, just get out there, you know, because I think we've all seen what he can do now, and the next step for him is the NBA. And one thing I've always said about Sonogo is he's had individual success at every level. In terms of, I think, was it the Final Four MVP, whatever it was that he got with UConn, obviously winning the title with UConn as well. And last year in the G League, the All-Rookie and whatever else it was he got nominated for. Obviously got into the All-Star game at that level as well. So there is something there with him. And I think people have now started to see that, which for me is what makes him the winner, basically, out of Summer League. Because, yeah, he'd already got his two-way, but I think he's just elevated himself slightly above the two-way, if that makes sense. I think if there is anybody from the G League that is going to make that next step for Bulls, it is going to be Sonogo. And I think a lot more people are going to start calling for it now as well, who primarily wasn't. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was Summer League.
Absolutely.
Now, before we move on to the last little bit, we'll send it to our merch store advert, and then we'll come back. Help support the podcast and the brand at C-Red UK by heading to our merch site, where you'll find a variety of designs on things like mugs, t-shirts and hoodies, including our Bulls Ellis and Flop of the Fro, with plenty more designs still to come. Link is in the description. So, yeah, welcome back. Like I say, check out the store. I am wearing you can't really see it, but the Flop of the Fro t-shirt tonight. There's a Flop of the Fro mug. I say when we get around to it, we will be putting more designs on there. We've just been a bit busy lately.
Yeah, although I have a few ready to go, we just need to get them up onto the site.
Yeah. So the last bit I want to talk about is international Bulls. Well, Bull, Josh Giddey. And we spoke about him on the last pod, and I gave my sort of take that I was quite excited now after watching him. Before we get into Josh Giddey, I had to turn the Team USA game off last night against Germany. Because...
Why?
How can I say it?
Be polite.
Yeah, did you see my message in the chat?
I did. That's why I said be polite.
Yeah. They couldn't get LeBron out of their mouth, shall we say. And it was off-putting. And that was Adam Amin as well, which was even more annoying. I get it. He was having a good game. But, yeah. I'm not going to go down that route. Josh Giddey. Since we last spoke, he's had another 2 games, exhibition games in prep for the Olympics. obviously for Australia, Boomers. First one was against, I don't know how you say it properly, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Obviously, Jose
Puerto
Alvarado.
Rico.
Jose Alvarado, their main guy, and he was a bit crap, to be fair. Australia ran out 90-75 winners, and it was kind of led again by Giddey. 19 points, hit 2 of 3 threes, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. And then Sunday, a much better game again. I actually watched this one because the Puerto Rico one wasn't broadcast, or it was, but it was on some pay-as-you-watch app, and I wasn't paying to watch it.
Mhm.
Australia-France was on YouTube and League Pass. Australia ran out 83-82 winners. Game-winning assist from Giddey. It was a inbound, which,
We
Bulls
need. Yeah.
What is it? The slob wizard.
Slob.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, that's sideline, out of bounds. So
Play. Yeah.
there you go. Yeah. It was just a little pass under the basket to Dyson Daniels, who put it in, and won it 83-82 for him. 20 points, 4 of 8 3-pointers. One of them, God knows what was going on with France, but he was wide open for about 10 minutes. I think he could have bent down and tied his laces and still shot it. And 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and 7 turnovers. But it's like I said in a thing on Twitter, as daft as it sounds, I think he's too good for Australia or some of the Australian players. His brain is going too fast, and they're not capable of keeping up with him. So I think that he is going to turn the ball over because he's got it in his hands. It's simple as, and every play he tries to do isn't going to come off. It's just nature of the game. But I think you put better players around him. And I mean, the one player that I've noticed he does link up well with is Landale. Obviously in the NBA as a centre as well, isn't he? So there is a possibility there's a good link there with Vooch if they can get that game going. Zach could probably benefit the most off him, I think, the way he plays and the way he can, obviously Zach can cut and stuff like that. So I know you were preoccupied on Sunday, so you didn't watch that game.
No.
You were...
I had my own game to watch, which I thoroughly enjoyed. In case anybody was wondering what the hell I was going on about when I was in Twitter, the All Ireland Hurling Championship was on Sunday, and my county were in the final and managed to win the All Ireland. So we're all very happy here in County Clare and the west coast of Ireland right now.
Yeah. So obviously Olympics starts on, well, I think the opening ceremony is Friday, innit? I think. And yes, LeBron James is carrying the flag for America. Whoop-de-doo. But Australia kick their campaign off on Saturday. I think it's 10 o'clock or 10:30 Saturday morning UK time against Spain. And then next week, Tuesday, I think they've got Canada, and then they finish the group stages against Greece on Friday. And I think they're like dinner time tips for us here in the UK. So unfortunately, won't be able to watch them too once I actually find out where the Olympics has been broadcast, because why would the BBC broadcast it? Pay all that money, but obviously on the Olympics, GB's not in it. Ireland's, well, basketball wise, Ireland's not in it. So who are you rooting for?
I don't know. I think I know who you're going to go for, but do you know what? I'm going to sit on the fence completely here and say I'm a neutral. I'm just hoping to watch a bit of nice basketball.
Right. So who am I going for then?
Germany.
Yeah. Now, Obviously, I went with them in the World Cup last year, just purely because I know it irritates people because, I'm English. Why am I rooting for Germany? But I was born in Germany, and England are crap at sport, so I'll get some success somewhere. But I am actually rooting for Australia, just purely because of Giddey.
So you're a part-time boomer.
Well, convicts, aren't they? So they're from here, most of them. Sorry, Troy.
Dear. Right. Anyway, moving on.
You've got to offend somebody.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were doing quite well, actually. You managed to evade everything without getting yourself in trouble, but no, you couldn't quite manage it.
No, like I say, in all seriousness, I am rooting for Australia, just purely on Giddey. Obviously, from watching the last few games, I've got into who they are as a team and stuff like that, and I quite like them, to be fair. I know it's quite a tough group for them. Probably going to be quite difficult to advance out of it, but if they don't, then hopefully Germany do, and I'll be flying my German flag. So, yeah. I'm
sorry. I'm just I'm a bit distracted here because one of my kids has just crawled in on her hands and knees to get something out of the room I'm in. Anyway,
who says we're not professional?
Hey, stop.
So, yeah, I mean, I've got nothing else. I don't know if you have.
No, I'm a bit thrown now, to be honest.
Yeah, quite an ending, that one.
Yeah.
Now, next week is going to be our last pod for a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah.
I'm going on holiday and you're going on holiday. You've actually chose the right time to go this time, not the start of the season when things are kicking
I'm working on it. I'm getting better.
Obviously, there will be a bit of a lull on the socials as well, because I'm going to be in Turkey for a start. So
yeah,
I don't think my wife would be very happy if I was on my phone. Plus, luckily, it is the right time to go on holiday because there's not a lot going on.
No.
There's only so many workout videos I can post before people start getting a little bit annoyed. Not that I enjoy annoying people or anything, but
no, not in the slightest.
So on that, next week's episode, we are looking at doing an Ask Us Anything. So I will put a post out on the socials, which you can reply to or drop a comment on this video, with a question for next week. And hopefully we'll get enough where we can actually put an episode together.
Yeah.
If not, we'll just find something else to talk about. Being as professional as we are.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll throw something together.
So, yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I've been Matt. You can find me on Twitter at MattCRedUK, and you can find us on all the socials at CRedUK.
And you can find me on Twitter at NeillCRedUK. On behalf of both of us and the Fans First Sports Network, thanks once again to all of you for tuning in. From us both, do remember it's a Chicago Bulls thing wherever in the world you are. Until next time, see red people and go Bulls.